It's one thing to win an election, it's another to govern, particularly in a toxic atmosphere where partisanship is out of control. Adam Riley continues his look at the campaign issues by contrasting how Clinton and Trump say they would break the gridlock in Washington.
It's been one of Donald Trump's rallying cries. Washington, D.C. is broken.
Decades of failure in Washington and decades of special interest dealing must and will come to an end.
Trump says he'll drain the swamp, cracking down on lobbyists and creating term limits for Congress. Of course, to realize his vision for the country, he'd also have to work with Congress, and maybe with a Democrat-controlled Senate. So, could he actually do it?
We already know that he's able to think outside classic party lines.
Jane Mansbridge is a political scientist at Harvard's Kennedy School. Her best-case scenario has Trump waxing magnanimous in victory and trying to govern as a unifier.
It's not likely, but I can conceive of a Trump coming out of it and saying, okay, now let's work together.
Or Trump could alienate Democrats by investigating Hillary Clinton and continue his beef with Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan.
I don't want his support. I don't care about his support.
And then there's Clinton. Her running mate says she's eager to work across the aisle.
We're going to need Republican votes in Congress for things that we want to do for the good of the country.
But some Republicans have vowed to block any Clinton Supreme Court pick and to keep investigating her private email server if she wins. Still, Mansbridge says there might be ways for Clinton and the GOP to collaborate.
Behind the scenes, she knows people. She knows Republicans. She's worked with them as a senator. Her staff knows people, particularly on the non-hot button issues. I think quite a lot could be done with the will to get it done.
But Mansbridge also says the toll of partisanship can't be underestimated. In her analysis, it's increased along with income inequality and been toxic for American culture.
Back in the 60s, only about 5% of Republicans and 4% of Democrats said they'd be unhappy if their child married somebody in the other party. Now, 49%, almost half of Republicans say they would be unhappy if their child married someone in the other party, and about a third of Democrats. It's going to take a lot of counter effort to try to reach across party lines to negotiate deals in this very, very poisoned environment.
And after this campaign, it's not clear that either Trump or Clinton would be up to the task.
Adam joins me now. Adam, good to see
Jim.
you. By the way, the whole series on the issue has been great. Thank you for doing it. So you said Republicans don't want to work with the President Clinton. Right. Democrats don't want to work with the President Trump.
To my mind, it is even harder to imagine Democrats working with Trump than Republicans working with Clinton, because at least she served in the Senate, like Lila Alphonse said, and can try to leverage those relationships. If you are Elizabeth Warren and you've called Trump a thin-skinned racist bully, or if you're Seth Moulton and you've compared his rise to the rise of Hitler in the 1930s, how could you possibly turn around and support some piece of legislation that he's backing? And then I would just add, if Trump keeps his promise and appoints a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton, nothing gets done, I think.
So what is possible to get done beyond what Scott Leahy just said, the things you have to do to make government work? What else?
Well, now I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, because if you leave aside all the rhetoric, theoretically, I think that Trump would have more possibilities for bipartisan collaboration than Clinton, because he's so heterodox. He's talked about spending more money on infrastructure, just like Clinton has. Yeah. He's all for beefing up the current Social Security system as opposed to privatizing it. Paid parental leave. So he has these liberal instincts, but I think the rhetoric in the campaign has made that almost irrelevant.
Now, with your approval, I don't want to know what Johnson and Stein's position is on this. Is that okay with you?
We've done our due diligence, right? I think, yeah.
So
their window has closed, let's say.
Adam, again, thanks. This whole series has been wonderful.
Thanks, Jim.
Good to see you.